Hello, everyone. I am the host, Lisa. Welcome to the 5th session of Fireside Science Chat. The announcements. So the session will be recorded and made public. If anyone does not wish to appear in the recording, please let us know after the session. During the talk, when not talking, please turn off your video and be on mute so that we can prevent background noise. If you have any questions, please use the chat. Please type it. And this lecture will be in English. And our volunteer translator, Sophia Zhou, will be translating. Okay, so today we will be listening to a talk by Dr. Charles Cerny, an IEEE Region 2 Dayton Section Director of Ohio. IEEE is the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, and there are 10 regions, 6 of which are in the US, and Region 2 is in the eastern US, which covers 7 states like Washington, D.C., part of Virginia, West Virginia, Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, part of New Jersey, and Ohio. And there are 4 areas in Region 2. And the West area includes 7 sections in Ohio, which includes the Dayton section. So Dr. Cerny has a PhD in electrical electronics engineering from the University of South Florida. For this session, Dr. Cerny will be discussing the basics of analog to digital converters. Let us now welcome Dr. Cerny.
All right. Thank you very much for that introduction, Lisa. And once again, good morning, students, because I know we're on the other side of the world, but through the miracle of analog to digital converters and a lot of other wonderful technologies that IEEE supports and that we all have an interest in, today I'll speak to you a little bit about the fundamentals of analog to digital converters.
就是我们现在生活在地球的2个半球，但是我们能有这样子的会议，让你们有这样学习的机会，就是通过像许许多多技术，例如这个 ADC 的技术，才让我们这个会议变得有可能。所以然后在这次的会议中，我会稍稍给大家介绍一下ADC 的基础知识。
All right.
Please continue.
So on to the next view graph. So you learned a little bit about me through the introduction from Lisa, but very more specifically, have an interest in energy harvest of electronic circuits and very much of a strong interest in research and invention of radio frequency components. So those that are associated with cellular telephones, many sensors, and a lot of the things that have to do with making precision measurements. Been involved with IEEE for more than 25 years. There's a picture of me there at one of the many conferences where we try to promote both professional electrical engineering, but also really to have more people involved and interested in careers in science and engineering. I am a world traveler and of Czech descent, so I have a very fondness for folk dancing, cooking, and music. And oftentimes I'm involved with a conference that we have in Dayton called the National Aerospace Electronics Conference, where we bring people from all around the world to Dayton. All right, that's the end of that slide.
就是谢谢 Lisa 一开始给我做的一个比较简单的自我介绍，这是我一个更加详细的自我介绍。然后我对这有2个领域特别感兴趣，一个是有关能量收集，一个是辐射的 frequency。我不太了解这2个领域，所以可能会在后面再给大家讲。
频率 frequency 是频率。
我不知道 radio frequency 是什么，就是
这就是那个一般的
就是射频技术 ，OK，
无线电频率。
然后他也说他经常到世界各地旅游，然后去做一些去参加一些会议，特别讨论和更加深度的研究这2个领域方面的知识。然后他也有一些个人的爱好，比如说烧饭和音乐和跳舞等等。 Please continue.
All right, thank you. All right, let me move to the next slide. All right, so in our outline today for the talk, I'll provide you some fundamental definitions for analog to digital converters, how they're made and how they're applied. We'll just do a little bit of the science of converting to digital, but really why that's very important and how it's relevant to many of the things that we're doing, just like right now. And they really are in very much of a own right, an architecture. So we'll discuss that a little bit, how you move from an analog to a digital domain and how you measure it. Some things that are going to be happening probably in the future, both near and far, and then I'll do a little bit of closing comments. All right, that slide is finished.
在这次会议中，我将会介绍这几个主要的内容。第一个是 ADC 的基本定义，第二个是 ADC 是怎么做出来的，且它在哪里可以应用到，然后还有就是 ADC 背后的一些主要的科学原理和它的重要性在哪里，和它与其他不同领域的联系，还有就是ADC 也可以用来建设很多东西，然后我们会稍微探究一下它可以建设什么。然后还有 ADC 的未来，和最后会有一个小小的总结。Please continue.
Thank you. All right, now let me progress the slide. Okay, so fundamentally, when we go ahead and convert something from analog to digital, all right, you and I live in a very continuous environment. And oftentimes we not only are speaking, but we also have interactions with much of our environment that is what you consider to be analog or continuous. But for us to understand that information better and to use much of the electronic technologies that we have to put it more or less into a language that allows it to be discretely broken up. And as you can see there in the figure, you have something that is continuous on the left side and then moving through the analog to digital converter. And by doing the sampling of that continuous signal, you can break that up into what they term as binary logic or binary signal representation. That gives you an idea of what that signal looks like in both time and magnitude. All right.
就是首先 ADC 的主要工作就是它会把我们生活周边这些持续连续不断的各类信息转化成电脑可读的分开的离散的信息，然后它也可以通过二进制的方式表达出来，然后就如上图所示。Please continue.
I'll move to the next slide. Thank you. Of course, we then think about the fact that if we have information that has been discretely broken up and we need to transmit it, we also have a component, a digital analog converter, that's working in just the opposite fashion. However, all of the components that make up that architecture for either an analog to digital converter or a digital analog converter are pretty much the same. You have some logic components that help to essentially make the choices for assignments of the binary signal or the binary data. You're comparing signals of your voltage and your time. And of course, you'll do things such as filter the information that you want specifically, and obviously amplify so that you can essentially either input that signal to turn it into very discrete but usable data, or to basically transmit it back out so that the message that you want to send into the electromagnetic spectrum is also accurately transmitted. Okay?
Yes，就 DAC 是与上一个 ADC 完全相反，它将电脑中以十二进制离散的信息变成持续不断的我们生活中的信息。但是这两个 DAC 和 ADC 它们有基本相同的组成部分，比如说过滤你所需要的信息和将这些你所需要的信息扩大成你可读的等等，就是它们组成部分是相同的。Please continue.
All right. On the next slide, what you'll see is how that representation occurs between what you have as a continuous signal and then broken up discretely, or a term that's called quantization. So if you recall from the last slide, you had your analog signal, which of course was continuous and looking much like a hill going up and down. And now if you think about that, one of the easiest ways to go up or down that hill is to build stair steps so that you can discretely break up that particular slope of that hill, and much more easily go from the bottom to the top, which is what's pictured there. But of course, this is now something that has gone from a very macro scale to a micro scale. And what you see in the lower portion of the picture is how you try to make this discrete quantization, all right, so that every step is uniform, which would make it very easy to go up or down the staircase or up or down a hill where there are steps. And of course, in an electronic circuit, they are bounded by a lower voltage and an upper voltage, showing what they call full scale or FSR. And then as it's divided up into these quantized levels, you now have the representations in ones and zeros. Much of this is accomplished today through silicon microelectronics, which is in the picture that you see in the view graph. So the two of them together have allowed all types of sensors that we pretty much have in our daily lives to be placed either in the palm of our hands, or they're in your house, or they're in your automobile, or various places where sensor work needs to have some type of discrete measurement of whether it be pressure, temperature, possibly even as we speak here, your audio levels are all broken up appropriately into some type of discrete manner. All right?
就是这一个 slide 是体现，我们怎么把是一些图表体现我们怎么把连续不断的信息变成分散的信息。比如说图 A 中是一开始我们将这些连续不断的曲线变成一个像楼梯形状的分散的信息，然后但这只是停留在我们一开始，然后经历了一些改变之后，我们现在运用大多都是 B 部分所显示的，就是将它变成另外一种分散的形式，这种形式更加清晰。然后当然它两者有共同点，就是它们的输入电压和输出电压是规定的，然后所以说它们在一个范围之内。然后这个 ADC 的应用在生活各处都有体现，比如说你生活中只要任何跟感应有关的东西，都需要将连续不断的信息变成分散的信息，也就是说它需要运用到 ADC. Please continue.
Thank you. All right, and on the next slide, oops, there we go. You'll see that there are various applications that analog to digital converters have been applied towards over the years. And as I said on the previous slide, ability to make precision measurements for various types of sensing applications and or telecommunications. So a wide range there. What you want to take away from this particular view graph is that some applications require much more resolution, which is on the x-axis, so determined as number of bits, and we'll get back to that in just a minute. But then also how quickly that needs to be done, or possibly how much bandwidth is required. So the analog to digital converters and the digital to analog converters have served many purposes over the years, and then that's fairly evident from this view graph. And of course, they are made for various applications, as I had said earlier. All right.
这些 ADC 从图表中可以看出，它们的准确率有一个差异比较大，然后它们有个非常大的范围，有一些可以很准确，有一些可能较不准确。然后你从这张图表中应该学到的是，它的分辨率是它在 X 轴上所显示的，然后它的准确率是它在 Y 轴上所显示的。然后还有就是这张图也可以看到，其实生活中的许许多多部分都离不开 ADC， 然后 ADC 的运用是非常广泛。Please continue.
Thank you. All right. So on the next view graph, we start to think about why would you want to convert to digital? And what's very important is what's there first at the bottom of the view graph, and that it is a challenge for two human beings to share the exact same understanding of a given concept. And in many cases, we're working through that right now, because I'm speaking to you about a concept in English, and the translator is greatly assisting to make certain that that concept is put forward to you in your language of Chinese. So once again, we are taking a thought that we have, which is continuous, and utilizing words in order to convey that message. But you know that the words that you speak are breaking up your thought to try to convey a message. And this is the reason why you have a desire to put things into digital, so that you can do this discrete parsing of a thought. Okay, and of course, this works also for the electrical signals that we use for many of our sensors. Yes, please.
这个 PPT 也就是讲的是我们为什么要把连续不断的数据变成二进制的分散的数据。那有一个主要的原因是，我们每一个人表达或理解同一个知识或者同一个想法的方式是不同的。比如说现在这个状况下，我在试着翻译这位老师所说的话，然后我试着将他所说出来的知识翻成中文，让一些只听得懂中文的观众可以理解他所讲的知识。但是在翻译过程中，我没有办法完全一模一样的将他讲的所有话都叙述给那些只听懂中文的观众。所以说我们需要将生活周边这些连续不断的知识变成电脑可以读的分散的信息或者知识，这样我们就可以更加准确或者更加准确的去理解同样一个想法或者知识点。
这个 discrete 我们叫那个离散也就是离散的这个。好，谢谢。Sorry, I was just it's about the terminology. Please continue.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next view graph, more considerations about why to convert to digital. So digital information can be very predictable, and when you consider utilizing digital information, it is nearly lossless. And of course, because we have ways to record that data digitally through many of our electronic circuits, things that are part of our computers and things that are part of our larger electronics, the storage is nearly lossless. Okay?
数据化的信息还有另外3个原因，我们愿意把持续不断的信息变成离散的或者数据化信息。是第一，数据化的信息的发展方式是非常容易被推测到的。然后第2个原因是数据化信息在转换过程中基本不会有任何损失，同样它在存储过程中也不会有任何损失。Please continue.
Thank you. All right, and now we say from why to how to convert from analog to digital. And as you continue to keep in mind the idea of the stair step, breaking up something like a hill or a slope, all right, you begin to do that comparison. And if you can do it evenly and uniformly, then you begin to build a certain number of quantization steps or levels. In the world of analog to digital converters, there are 2 ways that you can make this comparison. You can do it explicitly, which means that you have thresholds and references that we'll explain in the next chart, or implicitly, where you look at the analog voltage signal that, as you remember, was continuous, and you abstract out frequency or time information. I will focus on the explicit example in the next view graph. Okay?
讲完了为什么要转变这些信息，让我们来讲一下我们如何转变连续不断的变成离散或者数据化的信息。就是通过如果你们还记得我们前不久讲的将一个连续的像小山丘形状的连续不断的数据变成像阶梯型的离散的数据的那张图的话，我们其实就是通过这种方式转变这2种数据的。然后转变数据的比较方式有2种，第一种是直接的比较，就是通过图表中具体的例子来作为你比较的基础，然后这个我会在后面详细的讲解。第2种是含蓄或者不直接的比较方式，就是比如说通过这张图表中电压的频率或者它所需要的时间拿出来比较。Please continue.
Thank you. All right, in the next view graph, you remember how I said that the analog to digital converter is made up of a series of components to essentially architect its function. So the focus first is on the dotted line through the center, which divides the analog world from the digital world. And the way that begins is that the triangles are known as comparators. And what you will see is really more or less a ladder step of different reference voltages, which as the analog signal enters that comparison, and of course changes in time with its voltage level, it will then cause those comparators to make a decision as to whether or not some voltage has exceeded a certain reference level. Once that occurs, you begin to take that information into the digital domain across the dotted line, and you now have logic circuits that go ahead and make decisions as to, one, where the voltage is with respect to its reference, and how you go ahead and begin to build those quantized states. This is a fairly straightforward example that shows that you're going to develop 2 to the 2 possible state two to the two possible states, which is 4, of which one of them is always 0. So in your understanding, you will know that you'll have a low state, a low high state, a high low state, or a high state, making up the 4 possible states that can be part of that digital output that are then represented in 1s and 0s, as we have seen through the discussion. And that when you think about the 2 possible outputs, all the way at the bottom underneath the analog line, 2 to the n minus 1, where n is equal to 2, gives us 3 threshold references that need to be placed into our ADC architecture. All right.
对，这一张图表显示我们怎么直接的转化连续的数据变成离散的或者数字化的数据。首先，第一步是这些三角形，它们将连续的数据变成持续化的数据，或者将两个数据分开，然后再通过这些不同的线一步步转化成不同类型的离散的数据。然后这里面有4种不一样的类型，或者对，4种不一样的类型，一般有一种永远等于0，所以就把它看成有3种，正如图表所示。然后这4种分别是低高高低、低低和高高。对，please continue.
Okay, thank you. All right, so you recall that I'm returning now to this idea of the ladder step and the quantized levels. And the dotted line here is actually moving through those stair steps perfectly, okay, in an ideal way, which when that happens, which is not very often, all right, you are able to then calculate with a fair amount of accuracy the power that you have measured, and then provide you with a certain level of what they call bits, which we talked to in the previous slide is represented by the number n. And also in the graph, you'll see that every time there is a stair step made, there is a very nice sawtooth pattern that is built, which is demonstrating the discreteness of being able to divide up that line very uniformly. However, in the second bullet, you'll have to also include any noise that's generated and other interferences or distortions, which will now cause the stair steps to be not as perfect as shown here. And therefore, we have to do a comparative measurement of what they call as signal, noise, and distortion ratios. Okay?
这是一张图，显示前面两种不同的将连续数据转化成离散或数字化数据的放在一张图表里面的方式，就是一种是阶梯型的，一种是就是往下斜的那一种。然后这张图表里面是最理想化的数据，就是两者完全重合，然后可以放在一张同样 x、y 轴的图表中的。但是在大多情况下，这种非常理想的形式不太会出现，因为会有各种各样其他的杂音或者其他的因素，导致我们需要用 SNAD， 就是 SNAD 的比例，就是两者因为不是最理想，所以两者会存在一个不是1:1的比例，然后我们要运用这种比例把它更准确的用图表的方式画出来。Please continue.
All right, so as we were saying, that as the analog to digital converter interfaces between the continuous world and the digital world, you want to be able to see and make a measurement of how sensitive your system can be. And that's provided there by the formula in the first bullet, where we'd already spoken to a signal to noise ratio, an additional noise factor, gain, because we had spoken to amplifying a signal, and what temperature your sensor is going to operate at. So one of the other ways to make certain that you can extract the signal from the noise, you will actually build a filter around that, which is represented by the rectangle in the upper portion of the picture. And then below, you'll see that the complete signal and noise ratio has then broken up to represent the noise, which travels more along a line, because as time goes by, you increase the noise that you accumulate. But now the signal, of course, as we were saying, is not linear, and it eventually rises in power above the noise, and you can consider how much energy or power you need to detect, tune, and then analyze that signal for its properties. The filter allows you to isolate out more noise so that you can actually do more characterization on the signal. And those, of course, allow for tuning. All right. Okay.
系统的敏感程度会有一个公式来计算，然后这个公式就是 PPT 第一行中所写的。然后这公式里面几个主要的内容，一个是STAND ratio 比例，然后我前面翻的不太对，应该是新噪比或者保真率。然后这个比例和那个系统的温度，还有系统所受到的噪音和系统所受到的信息，就是这里面就是这个公式里面主要的组成部分。然后旁边有2张图表示这个公式不同的表达方式，比如说第2张图表中就有这个公式里面主要几块的体现，比如说信任比和噪音和信息是3条不同的曲线。
Thank you. So in this chart, you now see, based on how you would have both your signal and your sampling capability available, how you could represent this continuous analog signal. So all the way at the top, what they have is oversampling, but it provides a very accurate representation of your analog signal, which you've seen before is very much like an up and down hill. You can get a very good representation of your analog signal in the middle, because you can see that the lines are timed correctly with their samples of the red dots to provide a triangle representation of the analog wave. But even though you can have some curved response, which is all the way down at the bottom, called subsampling, you are not picking up all the characteristics of that particular analog wave. As you can see, it crosses at various points, but then also is really not accurately describing that particular signal. And therefore, as we said on the last view graph, you need to have enough of that information to properly characterize your analog signal. Okay?
这3种我们将模拟数据曲线变成离散或者是离散数据的方式。第一种是过度的将它变成离散数据的方式，就是在这一个小山丘形状的曲线中，把每一个点都具体的描出来，然后几乎可以完全复制这个持续不断的数据。但是这样可能就是过多的小红点，但是它可以保证这个数据是非常准确的。第二种是我们大部分都会运用的方式，是一个正确的将它转化或者体现在图表上的方式，那就是将这些曲线的最高点和最低点都描出来，然后将它们用直线连起来，就会体现出这个持续不断这个连续数据的主要的一些特点。然后第3种表达方式是你可以画出一个类似于有曲线的离散数据，但是这样子的话，你就会缺失很多持续不断这个连续数据中的一些重要的特点，因为你描的点不够多。然后这是3种 ADC 采样的方式。
Right?
Yes.
All right. So where are things moving in the future? So in the top picture, you see kind of a very common representation of how the addition of components in the analog domain, which is in the yellow-orange, are allowing you to have just a smaller portion of the picture of what is a very broad bandwidth of frequency and information. And of course, as you see, as the colors change from orange to blue, and you go into the digital domain, there at the right portion of that upper picture, you see the representations of the zeros and ones that we spoke to for the binary description of the analog signal. Knowing that there are many, many advances happening in the digital domain, we go to the lower picture, and you see now that there is a programmable nature that's available to provide many, many characteristics of your analog signal, or to be able to better match the signal that you're looking for. So you have now almost a zoom capability for your spectrum, so that this is exactly what you're looking for. And a few less components in the analog domain, but the necessity to really have a little more information about the signal that you want, so that it can be removed or extracted from the analog signals that are being tuned and or received by your receiver. Okay?
这是2个 ADC 的未来所可能会呈现的样子。第一种是跟我们更近一点的未来，就是比如说这张图表中用红色表示出来的部分，PPT 右边所显示的另外一种表现方式，就是它通过各类绿色和白色不同部分的过程，最后将连续的数据变成2进制的电脑可读的数据，然后在这个过程中就会通过3个我们前面所讲过的ADC 的主要组成部分，然后但在更远一点点的将来，然后在以上技术以比较成熟的掌握时，我们便可以通过编程的方式自己设计或者自己生成一个更加细致或者更加准确的 ADC 的运转方式，可以省略很多在上图中所标出来的各种元件，主要由编程而完成对于这两个数据的转换。Please continue.
Thank you. All right, so there we go. So to be able to think about this, you have somewhat of a multidimensional space that you need to trade off. And although the larger picture is giving you a very challenging case of the signal that you like or need or want, and it's shown in green, as opposed to those interferers that are close by that have a lot more power as represented on the vertical axis. You can use, and as we described in the last view graph, the design and programmability that is now available in many of the microprocessors and microcircuits to rapidly adjust what we consider to be the power or the dynamic range against the frequency space that you need to tune and or filter to pick out your desired signal. But in your initial design, you'll obviously want to have the maximum amount of signal to noise and then be able to work through the adaptation via filtering and other signal matching parameters to go ahead and pick out your desired signal. Okay?
右图所显示是一种较极端的现象，就是你需要的数据是用绿色的条形图表示出来的，但是你收到的数据或者就是你收到数据或者有很强电压的数据是由红色图表现出来的，所以你需要很多的过滤才能将它变成你所需要的数据。正常一个 ADC 的运转方式就是你需要先将 ADC 设在一个最大的范围内，也就是说它的范围要比这些你所收到的不需要的或者外界的噪音的数据还要再大一些，才可以一步步过滤成你所需要的数据。
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm going to just give you some thoughts about technologies that are also coming to bear within the world of communications and electronics, but photonics are now finding their way into not only telecommunications, but a lot of sensor applications. And all this chart represents is the fact that a lot of this, as you see in the red dots and the green triangles, are showing you that silicon has become also a part of that platform, so to speak, to greater have integration of photonics, which could give you the integration of light and lasers, and also probably very precision time, and provide you now with multiple applications in a single design or architecture. So you could have sensors that are really operating for maybe an entire industry or an entire commercial building, and then they would be integrated onto a single platform for monitoring and sensing. Okay?
这张图所显示是ADC 一个就可以有很多或者很大的运用方式或者方向。比如说图中蓝红绿所表示的是同样一个设备，它可以在光子学方面把它变成3种不同的形式的数据，比如说激光等等。然后这3种数据或者光电可以再集合到同一个平台或者同一个 ADC 的平台上。然后这就是 ADC 另外一个有可能的未来，就是比如说一个 ADC 的不需要很多 ADC 一起，只需要一个 ADC 就可以完成在一个很大很广的领域的所有工作。Please continue.
Thank you. So this then represents the assembly of how the silicon platforms, in concert with some photonics of various sorts, whether they be sensors or possibly analog to digital converters, or interconnects, and other types of circuitry, can give you a 3-dimensional representation. And those types of sensors, certainly in the future, will be those that you could probably wear or have placed, as we know now, in automobiles and in aerospace industries and wherever we have had sensors along, but now they become very much more complicated because they are doing multiple functions at the same time, probably also rapidly converting not only analog to digital information, but digital to analog information, so that they are interconnected with many items and other sensors that provide data and information. And also what's important here is that powering those will probably also be enabled uniquely from either photonics or other ways in which you can harvest energy from the environment. Okay?
这是一张将 silicon 就是硅元素转化成光子学不同方面的3D 的体现方式。然后这样的 ADC 转化器或者这样的感应器可能会在未来我们生活中各个部分运用的更多，因为它可以做一个更全面的感应，与其他不同的生活中的因素或者你生活中周边所受到影响产生互相的联系，所以它可以做一个更全面的感应器，相比只在一个方面现状下只在一个方面的感应器要更加全面，所以在未来你也许会佩戴它，或者放在或者反正它就会出现在你生活中的各个地方。
Okay, thank you. Okay, and finally, you've probably been hearing a lot in the news about quantum technologies. And a little more than 20 years ago, there was a fellow by the name of Robert Walden who began to do surveys on analog to digital converters and the analysis of their properties and their performance metrics. However, in this paper, he talked about one of the more challenging problems, which you see in the figure, is where that analog signal has much more of a curved behavior than a linear behavior. And that is a great challenge when you want to accurately represent a signal, as we've shown through this talk. And he goes ahead and extends what is known as the uncertainty principle by Heisenberg, which is not too far off of an analog to digital converter in that it's trying to discretely measure energy or quantize energy in a fixed amount of time, which is represented there by the formulas and given to an example of how precision time is needed to precisely measure the energy that has been quantized in those very curved spaces. And over in the picture, you may also learn about the Schrodinger cat experiment, which goes ahead and extends Heisenberg's principle. But the idea is that there is measurements to be made very precisely, probably for, I'd say, biomedical purposes, that will need those types of quantum technologies to make those accurate measurements for medical reasons. Okay?
这张图是显示 ADC 在原子论方面的一些可以应用的方式，比如说，它是决定就是这些持续连续的数据到底是以曲线或者圆弧形的方式呈现，还是以直线的方式呈现。然后图中所显示的公式是叙述时间与原子论和数据转换之间的联系。然后薛毕厄的猫就是将这个知识点或者这个理论更进一步的发展，但是这个理论比薛毕厄的猫要更加准确一些，它也是在探寻不确定性方面的许多相关的知识点。
All right, thank you. Hold on.
然后这里还提到了海森堡不确定性原理。I'm sorry, I'm done.
Okay, are you done?
然后海森堡 ，sorry, one more.
Sorry.
这里还提到了海森堡不确定性原理，然后海森堡不确定性原理涉及到量子力学的范畴，也就是它将 ADC 与量子力学联系起来，就是我前面讲的部分，它将 ADC 和量子力学联系起来的过程。I'm done. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, so to wrap up, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what goes on with analog to digital conversion. We explained why it's needed and of importance, because we can represent the world with some precision in digital, and it's done by comparison between voltage and or power against some digital logic, and we try to quantize that continuum. We also know that we have to consider signal noise and distortion, and what that does to deviate somewhat from the ideality of having a perfect representation of that stair step. And we measure that in effective bits. We also showed you examples of how you can sample a signal to gain greater accuracy of its original analog character. But there are limitations such as bandwidth, and if you have some prior information, you could program that now to look for that signal and match its characteristics. I think we're all seeing the introduction of 5G telecommunications, but I do think that it will go far beyond just communications, and analog to digital converters will probably bridge that gap for even more sensing and information and data correlation. And then the idea of being able to much more readily do precision measurements and look at electromagnetic energy will come from technologies such as photonics and quantum sensors. Okay?
这是我们这次演讲的一个小节。首先我们讲了什么是 ADC， 然后我们讲了我们如何将连续的数据或信息变成离散的数据，然后我们讲了对不起，然后我们第二个讲是我们为什么需要 ADC， 然后我们第三个讲的是我们如何转换两个不同的数据，然后我们第四个讲的是就是它在转换过程中可能会出现的差错或它转换的方式，然后第五个讲的是采样的方式，然后采样中有3个不同的类型，然后采样中也会被采样的数据和采样之前所知道的信息有所限制。然后后来我们也讲了ADC 的未来，然后比如说现在5G 的通讯方式非常火，然后教授相信通过 ADC 我们可以把它不仅仅限制在通讯方面，而可以拓展到各个其他的方面，比如说传感方面等等。
Okay, thank you. Well, I want to thank you once again for letting me talk today about analog to digital converter technology. I trust that it provides some interest and may encourage you to think about more of studying science and engineering, and might make a career out of that yourself. But at this point, if you have any questions, I'm willing to try to answer those. Thank you very much.
谢谢大家今天愿意用你们宝贵的时间来听这位教授所做的演讲，希望你们都从这个演讲中学到了一些知识，也对这一块领域的科学有发展兴趣。然后最后就是你们有任何问题吗？谢谢大家。
As we entertain questions, Lisa, do you want to do the thank you card?
Yes. So hold on. Yeah, we prepared a thank you card for everyone to sign. I think we can have everyone sign it while you answer questions. So everyone can just answer their questions in the chat. Yes.
大家有问题吧？有问题可以在边上那个打字的窗口里的打出来。
Dr. Cerny, I'm going to stop your screen sharing right now.
Sophie, 你今天翻译的很好，谢谢你啊 ，Sophia。
谢谢大家，对不起，我对这块知识不是很了解，我翻译的磕磕绊绊，希望大家谅解，对不起。
翻译的很好。大家有问题吗？
Okay.
Okay, I see it as what is the purpose of the photonic layers? So the photonics can serve many purposes, probably most for timing, and then interconnect for high-speed data transfer as well as data capture. Okay.
Want to see the screen?
Oh, do I need to turn something over?
No, it's everybody signing a thank you card for you. So Dr.
Okay.
Cerny,
Well, thank you.
You guys not see it? It says my internet connection's unstable.
But Lisa, do you want to explain what's on this picture?
Yes. So this is a thank you card that was drawn by Helen. She's my sister. She's pretty good at art too. Hold on. Okay. So the building on the left is the landmark building, like Huanghelou of Wuhan, right? And then also on the bottom right, there's like this fire logo, right? Yeah, and then there's just the thank you card she designed. And so I would like to ask everyone to sign it using the annotate function. It's in the picture of a pen. It should be on the bottom left where all your other functions are, like your mute, stop video, those buttons. There should be one called there should be one called annotate. And then once you press it, there's a few options like mouse, select, text, draw, stamp. You can use draw to sign your name, or you can use text to just like type it out. And then you can change the color, you can add stickers, etc. Yep. So in the meantime, let's do more questions.
Lisa, it's past 10 now. We can end.
Okay.
Don't we want to do more questions? There's another question.
Oh, okay, then
Okay,
let's
it says here, as you have mentioned something about quantum mechanics. Whoops, it disappeared.
As you had mentioned
Right.
something about quantum mechanics, so I'd like to ask, is it possible that quantum computing using photons will be used in the field?
From what I'm reading and from what I understand, the idea of entangled photons is going to be very pivotal. I think the research is still very early, but there are people who are doing that experiment because it's much easier to count photons and then try to make those discrete translations. So it's very precise. So I do think that will find its way in the near future. That helps to answer that question. But I think yes, very much so. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Cerny.
Okay. Thank you again. Obviously, certainly thanks to all the students and the young people who have signed in tonight, and want to wish you all well, and maybe someday I'll be able to draw like that as well. So that artist is very, very good, very skilled and talented. All right.
Well, thank
So,
you. Have a good night.
do I need to turn anything back to you guys?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Good
Well,
night.
thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. 谢谢大家，谢谢大家来参与问问题的，谢谢大家。
Okay. I will close the meeting now. So,
Okay.
bye everyone, and thank you again. Yeah.
Bye.